Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahilladzi hadana li hadza wa ma kunna linahtadiya laula an hadanallah. Asyhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la syarikalah wa asyhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu amma ba'd. Your Excellency, Director of the Voice of Istiqlal, Bapak Mulyono Leji, MSI. Excellency, our speakers today, Ms. Sabrina Saifudin. Your Excellency, former research fellow at the National Academy of Science of the Armenia, Mr. Konstantin, and all ladies and gentlemen and participants whom I highly respect, and may peace be upon us. Let us begin this event expressing to our gratitude to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala and sending peace and blessing upon the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And thank you. Welcome to the seminar, Experience of Being a Muslim in USA and Christian in Muslim Country. Of course, hosted by the Voice of Istiqlal in collaboration with the Aamiin. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, to open this event, let us recite our basmalah together. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ladies and gentlemen, let us now proceed the talk show, Experience of Being a Muslim in USA and Christian Muslim in Muslim Country. And we are honored to be joined three incredible speakers today. The first is Ms. Sabrina Saifudin. She is Freeman Fellow East Asia 2025. And then we have the Director of Voice of Istiqlal, Mr. Mulyono GMSI. And then Mr. Konstantin, he is former research fellow at the National Academy of Science of Armenia. So, without further ado, let's begin the session. Please welcome our speakers. First, our speakers is Mr. Mulyono GMSI.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon everybody. Maybe in Arabic, in Arabic or in Java, saya maybe let it in Indonesia bahasa Indonesia. Today, TV, Istiqlal TV also covered these programs. Even though the participants attended by some participants today, but this is the productive discussion because can be watched by all people. Okay, so thank you very much. Menyampaikan, first of all, I would like to express my deep sense of gratitude. Today we can meet together in this place. This is the American space. We have the special guest from Aamiin and Meridhai. Who don't know Meridhai is very famous in Indonesia anyway. Today we have the special speaker, Ibu Sabrina. Thank you very much, Ibu Sabrina, for attending time today to discuss and sharing with us with the people of Indonesia. And you start from the Istiqlal. This is the biggest mosque in Indonesia and Southeast Asia. And Mr. Arat, my college, very familiar with the Indonesian people. Specifically, we are very close in Istiqlal because I can share anything with him. about the Muslim. I mean, this is the persecution here. Yang saya juga ingin menyampaikan terima kasih kepada dosen Meridhai Meridhai for facilitating us, all the speakers, to share strategic issues about the Muslim in the US. Why it's important to understand the Muslim in the US? Because this is the big country, the democratic country, the very heterogeneous country with the all people existing in America, right? Benar ya Bu ya? Itu semua suku, semua bangsa, semua negara ada semua di Amerika. And now we can understand how many people, how many Muslims in United States. Maybe we can, Sabrina can correct me, maybe more than 4.5 million or 3 billion people Muslim in the US, but around it is. Jadi ya kalau kita lihat the last consensus of the American United States consensus tahun 2020 bukan di state sekitar 4,5. Dan it's amazing. Yang menakjubkan sebenarnya adalah the mosque, many mosque in Amerika. Ada 2000-an, ya, kalau nggak salah, nanti bisa dicek lagi. Dan inilah, this is the issue that we can confront to the Syariah. Kenapa begitu banyak? How can develop? How they can build the mosque in Amerika? Dan kalau kita lihat the education level of the Muslim actually mostly high education. Jadi meskipun even yang berada di garis in the line, the poverty line of the Muslim, actually this is also the challenge for the Muslim. Jadi secara demographic, the population Muslim in Amerika itu sebenarnya sudah improving every year, itu grow, terus berkembang. Tapi apa makna perkembangannya terhadap ya, education terkait dengan pembangunan, development related with the development of civilization, basic social culture and so on. How they can contribute to the development. The Muslim community tidak hanya dilihat dari sisi quantity, but we can see in the quality perspective. Jadi bukan hanya dilihat secara quantity, tapi secara kualitas. Sama dengan teman-teman kita yang di Kristen, perkembangannya di Eropa, negara lain. Dunia ini sebenarnya tidak lagi misalnya, ya, bahkan yang terbaru kami juga membuka. We have the link to the one community in America, spiritualized community, right? Ini saya kira berkembang juga di dunia Eropa. Ya, it's not only the Muslim, it's Christian and all the religion involved juga. Jadi banyak komunitas-komunitas sekarang itu ya sebenarnya involved dalam sebuah komunitas yang tidak lagi punya, there is no name, there is no label. What's the name of the religion? But they call this is the spiritualized community. Karena mereka they would like to contribute for the development, ya, lingkungan, masyarakatnya, budaya dan sebagainya. Bahwa terhadap pembangunannya yang semakin cepat dan bisa berkontribusi secara banyak. Hadiran Ibu Sabrina, ya, we appreciate for your coming today and sharing with us about the Muslim in United States. You can share anything, and then you can inspire us. It's secara demokratik, that we can mention to see how they can help, how they can contribute. But now we can help SDGs, sustainable development goals. Yeah. Starting from all the world. And the last, maybe this is the first step that we can discuss about the religion, the Muslim, the Christian, the Buddhist, the Jews, and so on. Yeah. Of course, we can discuss in this place, and then we can discuss in Istiqlal Mosque, yeah, because Istiqlal become the center of the interfaith. Saya kira sebelum tamu kita ini dua ini narasumber, saya pengen dari Aamiin dulu yang memberikan satu dua kata yang sebenarnya untuk menginspirasi kita. Dan kalau misalnya ada tamu-tamu seperti saat Ibu Sabrina, kartu Indonesia, from any country, from khususnya dari Amerika, we can facilitate, fasilitasi. Nah itu memang saya juga kemarin terlaporkan ya sudah 80-an peserta yang sudah terregister. I don't know, I don't understand kenapa sangat ingin gitu. Tapi kemarin karena ini open for public sebenarnya. They register in the media social in sana, and I see the participant around 78 participants already registered. But tapi ya meskipun ini saya kira langkah awal, kami akan this is the first step to make regular education the religion, maybe bukan mulai. Jadi sebelum saya serahkan ya, izin ya MC ya, kita berikan waktu ya ke Ibu Sisilia ya, dari Aamiin untuk memberikan inspirasi. Silakan.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Sabrina, and thank you, Voice of Istiqlal, for the opportunity given to our intern Sabrina to take part in this event, in this talk. I think it is always interesting to know about other experience living in different communities and how they can actually, or what lesson they can learn from that community. And it is also interesting and beneficial for everyone as well to get this as our learning process. We really appreciate the steps, the ideas that Voice of Istiqlal has to hold this kind of event. We will always support this kind of event if you need any help from us, because we have programs for Americans coming to Indonesia, but we don't always have the time or even the opportunities to always keep everyone know about who's actually coming in, who's actually coming out. So if you need a speaker or someone from the US to also take part in one of your talks, please feel free to reach out to us. And I don't need to contact. So thank you. So I hope everyone will learn something from here, and it will contribute to the, like you say, the development of
for your insightful sharing. Now let us continue with our next speaker. Please welcome Miss Sabrina Saifudin.
Voice of Istiqlal for inviting me here and sharing my experience. I really appreciate it. I hope this session will be very insightful and helpful for anyone who wants to learn about the U.S. and also if we might be learning about the U.S. in the future. So I just wanted to start off by saying a little disclaimer that this is my personal views. It has absolutely nothing to do with Aminef. It does not represent Aminef or Fulbright. Everything is based off of my experience, and that this presentation isn't an expert opinion. It's just based on what I learned, what I noticed, what I experienced living in the U.S. So to start off, I really quickly want to say that today I will be talking about roughly 6 things, but it's very easy, very interesting. Hopefully you will stay along with me. So the first thing I'll be talking about is the challenges of living in the U.S. Secondly, I'll be talking about stereotypes and public perceptions, how to overcome stereotypes and interfaith and communication, community experiences, and lastly, Islam in America. Hopefully you guys will have, if you have any questions, please ask along the way, or at the end of the session, I would love to answer them. So, to start off, I want to introduce myself again. My name is Sabrina Saifudin. I am an American citizen. I'm also African American. So, again, my name is Sabrina Saifudin. I am an American citizen. I'm also an African American. That means African American means people who are from African descent. So I'm originally and ethnically Ethiopian Eritrean. On that side of the presentation, Ethiopian Eritrea is located in East Africa, below Saudi Arabia and Yemen. So I am also interning in Indonesia through Freeman Fell in 2025. I got the opportunity to come to Indonesia and be a part of the bigger community. I'm a 4th-year college student at the College of William and Mary, where I'm studying international relations. It's like political science, public policy, and government all in one, but in more of like an international. So, to start off, the first thing I'll be talking about is the challenges of living in the US. I feel like everywhere, it's 100% known that despite where we are going, anywhere in the country, there's always a challenge we're facing. For me, one of the biggest challenges I faced, and I will be comparing this to Indonesia, because I've been seen this stuff. So the first challenge I have faced is there's not really 100% halal food. You can find halal food, yes, but you have to go out and find it. Like, the halal market is 20 to 35 minutes away from my house. There are halal restaurants, but some of them, they're not all halal food. You have to look around and check which one's serving halal, which one isn't. You also have to check the snack labels, where there's a very big snack culture here. So in the US, you actually have to check what's on the packaging to make sure that you're not eating either pork or some other non-halal stuff. And comparing that to Indonesia, I love the fact that there's so many Muslims here. I'm like enjoying every piece of everything. I'm eating it all, and I'm like, alhamdulillah, I know this is halal. Like, I'm just eating as much food as I can before I go back. But I'm really grateful for that. And when you see how it is from living in the US and living in America, in Indonesia for a bit, you're like, wow, there's actually a majority Muslim country and a minority Muslim country. Another one is that there isn't a lot of musallas. Well, when I say musallas, I mean like, we do have masjids. Alhamdulillah, we have a lot of them. In my state, Virginia, we have probably more than 100. I'm sure there's a masjid in like 5 minutes away from my home, or like masjids, you will see them around. But there aren't really musallas. Musallas meaning like in the train station, how here there's like a prayer room designated just for Muslims to pray, or in the mall. Grand Indonesia has so many of them. I was like, wow, this is amazing. Anyways, in the mall, or just like in the airports and stuff, there really aren't places where you can go to pray besides the masjid. So one thing me and my family do is that we either pray at home before we leave, or we just go to the masjid and pray. So we try to work our schedule around our 5 daily prayers. So we pray, and then we go wherever we need to go, and then we come back. Another big one is that we don't have holiday, like for Eid al-Adha, Eid al-Fitr, we don't have it as a holiday. It's not a national holiday. So usually people are supposed to work on that day. We just call in sick, or we take a leave day. So yeah, I know that in Indonesia, there's a holiday, like you guys have holidays where it's like a long weekend. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. Like if we had that there, everybody would be so happy. Because I remember when I used to work at my old job in a cafe, I would call in sick so many times. And my boss would be like, are you okay? And I'm like, no, it's because it's a holiday for me. I'm so sorry. I have to like explain my situation. But they're very understanding, so they will let me go. And it's like, yeah. So the first one is challenges of living in the West. The second one is I'm sorry, I'm gonna get rid of bad stuff first. There's no bad stuff anymore. They're nice. Whoops, that came out bad. Never mind. So the stereotypes and public perceptions. I noticed that a lot of Americans, not a lot, but most of them, think that Muslims are Arabs. Like if you're Muslim, you're automatically Arab. Like people thought I was from the Middle East, or they would ask where Ethiopia was exactly. And I would say, and I would tell them respectfully, I would be like, guys, actually 20% of Muslims are Arab. The rest are international. There's so many Muslims in Indonesia, in Africa, Europe, and even South America. So I would tell them, actually, there's more Muslims everywhere. That's one of the stereotypes. The second one is that this one is very, I love this. I love talking about this. It's Muslim women are forced to wear their hijab, and Muslims don't belong in the West. So I've had an interaction with someone, a peer of mine in the class, where she came up to me and she asked, politely actually, which was really nice, she asked me, is your father forcing you to wear the hijab? And I said, no. I choose to wear the hijab. I feel like there's this perception of Muslim women being forced to wear the hijab by their husbands or their fathers, but in reality, I sat down and I explained to her, actually, I choose to wear the hijab because XYZ reasons. And I'm so glad I got to explain that to her, because she had a better understanding, and now she knows if she sees a hijabi woman that she's wearing it because she chooses to wear it. Another one is the news often portrays Muslims as extremists, and I think Americans, well, like I said, not all Americans, some of them, have this perception or idea of what a Muslim is, and unfortunately they get all of their information from media outlets, which aren't true. So I would always advise to meet Muslims or go out to like a halal restaurant and talk to people who are Muslims. And yeah. I'm getting it. Sorry. And then how to overcome. My favorite one is how to overcome the stereotypes, because wherever you go, you will face some sort of Islamophobia. But here's ways that I overcome it. So the first one is that show people what Islam is truly about on how you act. The first and the second one, they go together. Be kind, respectful, and helpful to others. Smile, it's sunnah. Wave hello. Be the Muslim that we truly are, and show that we're actually very loving and caring people than what the media portrays us to be. The third one is make friends with people who are different from us, from me. This one is a really big one because not a lot of people have Muslim friends or have been around a circle or a community of Muslim people. So show up, go to places, meet people. You know, like for me, I always tell myself that I'm representing Islam because I'm wearing the hijab, and I really want people to know that Muslims are loving, friendly, genuine, and I try to embody that and talk to different people and say, be there in the moment. So they'd be like, oh, Muslims are just like us. They just wear the hijab and they believe in God, which is a really important one. Explain things nicely if someone doesn't understand. So this one is, there will be people who are very initiated and they want to be right. I've had an experience where me and a peer, not a friend, but somebody I know, we were talking about each other and then we somehow got into the topic of talking about religion. So this person said, I don't think your God is true, or I don't know if what you're believing is true, or they asked questions about Jesus and Mary, and at that point I, first of all, sat there and listened calmly. I did not initiate saying, actually you're wrong. It was mainly like listening to what they have to say, and then start off by explaining why you think who Jesus is, or who Mary is. And then hopefully they understand it. If they don't, which sometimes they will get heated, nicely leave the conversation and say, it's okay, we don't have to talk about it today, and just exit. When things get really intense and very heated, we just have to leave. Another one is join school and community groups to feel a sense of belonging. I feel like what happened to me was I felt very isolated. And I felt like maybe because I look different, maybe I shouldn't be in circles of, for example, like people who look differently, or have friends or do sports that most Muslim, like women, like sports that have never seen Muslim women play before, or put myself out there. And there's this sense of like isolation and feeling like, what's the point of doing things if people don't want to get to know you from me? That's when you're actually like, I'm different and I want people to learn about me. So you put yourself out there and join communities, join clubs, and meet people, and spread like what Islam is. Because, like I said, everyone who's Muslim is literally a representation of Islam. And when people meet you, they're like, wow, this is so amazing. Islam is so beautiful because of this person. The last one is learn from the lived experience of another Muslim who had faced stereotypes. Obviously, there are other people, Muslims in the US, who have faced something similar, something different, and it's best to always have conversation with those people, share ideas of what to do, not what to do. Because everybody does have something to say, and it will be very informational. Let's get to the good stuff. So, sorry guys, this is my favorite part. So, what life in the U.S. is actually about. I would like to say that Americans are very independent. They love to do things on their own. They love to challenge themselves. They're really career-oriented. They are genuine, and they just, what they want, they get it. What they need to do, they do it, you know? And they're very confident in doing so. Things like, they're very determined too, which is really nice to see. They're also very friendly, very open to conversations. I would get like strangers waving hi at me and people smiling at me. I'm like, it's just because they're really friendly and they're really nice and they want to talk to you. They want to have like, oh, you're from a different place, let's talk. Like, random people are so friendly and nice. They, also, another one is that you will see people from different places. This is my favorite one. In my university, we have a lot of student organizations for like Vietnamese student organization, Mexican student association, or Muslim student association, Egyptian student association. So many people in one place. You get to learn, meet people, learn about their culture, and you also get to share your own cultural experiences. There's also a lot of food. So much food there. Varieties of different cuisines, from Mexican food to Chinese food, to Korean food, Mongolian food, just Ethiopian food too. So many different things you can like explore, like the best place to go and meet people and learn about them, and you also get to share your own experiences and just make really good connections with people. They also have amazing hamburgers and fries. Yes, you can find a lot of options for them too. You just have to find them, but they're there, they exist. And then there is also interfaith and community experiences. So connecting with people from different religions. There's, I feel like everybody wants to learn from everybody, and there's a space for everyone to come together and talk about their similarities, their political views, or even what they have in common and what they don't have in common. I have multiple friends who are Christian, atheists, or Orthodox, Shias, and Jews, and it's just very interesting to all of us to come together and be sat peacefully in a city where we're all having a community, we're all connecting and all learning about each other. I've also talked a little bit about, I don't know if I talked about MSA, but there's Muslim Student Association in literally almost every college, everywhere there's Muslims on the map. The biggest state that has Muslims is Texas and Minnesota, and so many people who are Muslim have the map. There's always communities, masjids, where people come together and just pray together, eat together, fast Ramadan together, break Ramadan together, so many things. And this one is a picture of what MSA exact member is hosting. My school also hosted this an iftar where students would come together and break their fast. So there's a very like communal sense of feeling. Everybody who's there, and obviously the non-Muslims and everybody are all welcome to be a part of the breaking the fast and everything, which is good. Another one is there will be people who share the same values and the same understandings as us. This one is everybody's very supportive, very helpful, and despite the differences in our religion, it's really nice to see people come together and be humans together, if that makes sense. Another one is, this one I was very intrigued to find out that Islam is actually the biggest and fastest growing religion in the US. This one, I think it's because a lot of people are asking, what is Islam besides the media, besides what they're told to think about what Muslims are, and they're going out and asking questions in Dakwah stations, which is this picture over here. There's Dakwah stations in every city where scholars, Muslim scholars are there, and people come and ask questions, and they answer back, and inshallah, they hopefully will, I don't know, learn more about Islam, learn about Islam. And so overall, I would say my experience of being a Muslim in the US has been a little bit challenging at first, which does take adjustment, but once I got the groove and learned that everybody's actually nice, and it was just in my head that I felt like I didn't belong, I started to grow as an individual. I started to learn about people and learn about cultures, and it also, alhamdulillah, brought me closer to my faith. When you see different people from different places together, and yeah, I think overall, living in America has been a really good experience, and I hope you guys can experience it too. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Thank you so much for Miss Sabrina for your insightful sharing. And finally, we invite Mr. Ararat Constantinian to share his experience. Please welcome Mr. Ararat.
Thank you very much for giving an opportunity for the invitation from Istiqlal. It's something to be proud to be part of this project. Thank you for your great presentation as well, and welcoming you, your guests. In comparison what have been told on the US, this is just the opposite side from the Christian view in the Middle East. So we hear about the condition in the Middle East maybe for maybe the last 40 and 50 years, constantly wars, and there is just this assumption that most of the time the war is happening there, it's religion-based, and there is religious hatred, and etc. And just a few days ago, there was a church attacked and bombed in Damascus in Syria. So this is going on and going on, and especially the coverage is on media. But unfortunately, we don't pay much attention what is going on in the ground in terms of Christian-Muslim peaceful coexistence. But beyond that, we have tolerance, how they have mingled. First I will start with the positive and we will go to the negative if you. In comparison with US, Middle East has been mostly religious mingling have been going on for centuries. It was in Middle East that this actually religions, they came up, both Christianity and Islam. So in that terms, I think if you look at the timeline, there for Christians, I mean, it's not a problem to have pork or, for example, the opposite. We don't have that problem. We have passed that condition maybe hundreds of years by now. But what is the problem here might be that the stereotyping already doesn't exist, but there is another issue due to the regional, political and geopolitical condition. Both sides started to blame each other in terms of if you are Muslim, you are linked to ISIS or some Muslim Brotherhood, etc. Even though the person or the group or the community has totally nothing to do with such extremist political groups. On the other side, especially when the region started to be kind of seeing Christians as Western supporters, especially when that happened in Afghanistan and Iraq, etc. The stereotype from the other side came that the Christians are linked to Western powers or etc. Maybe they are supporters of US policy. But overall, if you look to the community that has been settled for many centuries, probably not to be linked with politics anyway. I mean, the society is living there. And I think that it is wrong aspiration to just link any political original calculations with the community that existed. So I tried to bring the two directions where they have criticized each other or created some boundaries that mostly related to politics and not to the social or societal life that they have been created together. So this is something new. It's not stereotyped on religious customs, traditions, but politics came to maneuver or change the perceptions that theologically this region has been so many years ago, but politics took the right to create this both sides stereotypes that have been relevant. But I would say, of course, in any region or in any country, the biggest role, if you are considering minority majority, I think the biggest role lies on the majority, how they have this acceptance that the minority could be in social life or political life or economic in terms of opportunities to be given the rights equally. I think this is something that we have to stress on the generosity that the majority is able to accept that. For example, in Indonesia as well, we know that in Malaysia, same condition. The Chinese, they have a big role in economy, right, in industry, etc. So in terms of Middle East, that is not on a racial, categorization, but as you have mentioned, the field enrichment. Yes? So mainly the field enrichment is not focused on the race, but focused on the religious terms. Christians, they have the biggest economic role in advancing economy, in bringing industries. For example, the Armenian Christians in Middle East, in Jordan, in Syria, in Lebanon, etc. When you give a study to the Armenian diaspora in the Middle East, you will see the first photographer was Armenian, the first doctor, the first hospital, the first hotel, etc., have been created by Armenians. And I think this is that something gives credential to how you are being able to mingle with the majority in that field, that will bring a field enrichment. I think that is one of the most important things from both sides and from the minority as well, where they get the opportunity to develop any sector where the majority has created the institutions that you can be able to show yourself. Even though you are brilliant, even though you have the mechanism, even though you know how to start, for example, an industry, but if you don't have the institution that will give you a chance to broadcast yourself and abilities, it will not work. And the vice versa. If you are a majority in a country, for instance, Arab Muslims, yes, in the Middle East, if you don't give the opportunity for that sector to grow, because the business belongs to the Christian minority, that will affect your field that you are willing to develop. The other side, the other issue I want to mention, I think there should be also mingling in cultural aspect. That has been one of the key issues, that how Christians and Muslims, beyond religious topics, they have been able to create complementary together. Because this is an important issue in the Middle East. In the US, if we compare US, what they bring, the mechanism or the lifestyle that they could bring together everyone to live in one area or in one country, I think the stress has been put mostly on the citizenship and the human rights. I mean, in Arabic or in Middle Eastern countries, we have to admit that the citizenship doesn't play as a role as much as in uniting people together, regardless of your religion, regardless of your racial background. That doesn't play much. We see the clusters are very much, the border is very much clear between either you are Arab, either you are Armenian, either you are Kurd, either you are other also racial minorities. I mean, these two issues, they are very much linked together, the racial and religious belonging. It's not only that this side is Christian, this side is Muslim, or Confucius or Buddhist, etc. In Indonesia, for example, that racial issue doesn't play a role because there is intermarriage, it's a lot of Javanese or Batavis, etc. And in the US also, I mean, many racial belongings that intermix together, and it's difficult to say maybe this is 100% Mexican or 100% Armenian, etc. But in the Middle East, we have that clear-cut and clear racial identity, and communities like not only categorize themselves as Muslim or Christian, but they do categorize themselves as Christian Armenian, Arab Muslim, Kurd Muslim, Christian also very rare, but I mean, I wanted to mention this categorization, and that is also very important, that how they have been able to create social cohesion on the ground, not the religious concept, where how, for example, they have been able to after independence, they have been to create some idea of nationality that can be complementary. How Armenian Christians can be, they have contributed in the state building in terms of ideology, for example, in Lebanon or Syria, etc. Or how they have been in Jerusalem, for example, the Armenian minority has been able to be with the Arab Muslims in complementarity in creating their cultural identity. Of course, by mingling, they didn't create totally different identity, but they have created a post-identity and a term that on the ground they have created new reality, how they managed to mingle some cultural dances, clothing, music, and cuisine, that today it became a local cuisine that you can say that this food is, if you are mastering on cuisine, etc., they will know very well that if this food is created by the Armenians and the Arabs, Christians and Muslims together, and it belongs to this local reality. So I believe that that's one of the most important issues that we should not only fix in this term when we are talking about Middle East. We shouldn't only look at the separation of or identification of identities based on these religion, based on these Muslim or based on these Christians per se. So during the Syrian civil war, for example, many Syrians were surprised at how come that Christian and Muslims on the ground, they were helping each other. I think this is also a very important issue that it surprised them actually. They didn't expect that how Christians and Muslims can be to this much helpful to each other, because when you know that when the war starts, I mean, you have to, from the humanistic perspective, you have to help the other one. For example, if you have access to electricity, water, you have to help your other neighbors. If you have medicine supply, for example, the Armenians were receiving a huge number of medical aid from the Armenian communities all over the world, and especially from the US. The Armenian community was very helpful to supply medicine and aid to the people who were under the threat of bombardment from both sides, the army and the opposition. But on the ground, it was really, when you go to deep research, like what I was doing, you would think that this is merely a humanistic act, that okay, we should help the other neighbor or the other community because it's war. But when you go to research, you find out that there is also the acceptance and acknowledgement that because we belong to the same God, and monotheism also, to my interest, played a great role here. I mean, I'm helping that if I have the opportunity, I'm helping the other community, not mainly because we are all humans, but because for appreciation that we have the same God and salvation and monotheism. This is, I think, also a very important thing that I consider Armenians and Muslims, they have helped us together on the ground in Aleppo during the fierce civil war with all their abilities. Some they give the other side shelters, some they give the other side food, some they give the other side water, and etc. etc. But it's really, to me, as a minority, I was born in Syria, although I live in Armenia. But that was, I think, a positive side when you see the country is in war, but on the ground, the majority and minority together, they are doing their best to help each other and to provide even shelter. Even some people, they turned their private cars to an ambulance car, and they were taking people to hospital just to save lives. I mean, this is something amazing that, you know, they haven't put this, also the labeling that I don't like it, the majority and minority. And I believe that it should be elaborated more. We should talk about this peaceful coexistence or the social cohesion on the ground that most of the time is overlooked, and they focus on the political wars and geopolitical calculations without paying attention that even during a war, peace or living peacefully is possible between the Christians and Muslims. I think that is a very good example. I hope nowhere in the world war happens, but it's out of our, I think, so that's why I think that we should not consider only places that where is constantly a long-term peace, but also there is also looking to the areas that they are in constantly war, and how Christians and Muslims have been able to create their inner space to live peacefully and to live brotherly. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you to our speakers for valuable insight. Now we will open the floor for the question from the audience. If you have any question, please kindly raise your hand. Okay.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Lola. I'm a friend of Sabrina. I actually have a few questions because I think it's very interesting that you mentioned about how you, as a Muslim in America, the first question, can you explain and tell on your point of view, how can you engage as a Muslim international student with the local Muslim community? I know that there will be, let's say, Parisians or people in different states that they have their own local Muslim community, and let's say you are from the outside of that state. How can you engage with them? Maybe you can tell me about that. And then, as America is the land of freedom, do you still feel there is a boundaries to perform your religion in American community? And the third one, I hope it's okay, third question. How do you have a social life balance between a Muslim and a student? Thank you.
Okay, maybe one question again. Any question? Okay.
Thank you. My name is Flori. So I have heard about how interfaith communication and how people from different religions help each other on the ground. What I want to ask is about interfaith communication, particularly in how we communicate our differences, variations, or schools within our own faith. So the context is I had experience with Korean students years ago. They asked me why some of my Muslim counterparts didn't wear hijabs. Back then, I remember I was thinking that I answered that, oh, it's their choice. So they asked me back that, also, is it just a choice? It's not compulsory, something like that. And that took me aback because I didn't know how to respond to that. I remember I thought I could just explain that just like any religion, there are differences. I was thinking that I could answer with not all Christian goes to church, but I didn't want to come out as offensive. So I just left the conversation with awkward silence back then. So yeah, so why do we communicate that? The differences, variations, schools within our own faith to make it understandable for them of a different faith than us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the question. Maybe the first response, Miss Sabrina.
Mrs. Seal, come back, come sit here.
Okay. It's easier for me to.
Mrs. Seal is not going to sit next to me. It's okay. I'm going to start answering this question. So for the first one, I think no matter what state you go to, Arizona, as long as you put yourself out there and you go to the MSA or the masjid, just go to the local masjid, just start out going to the place and say, hi, my name is so-and-so, I'm an international student, introduce yourself. The community will literally set you up. You will have friends in the masjid, you will have friends in the MSA. The only thing you have to do is take that step and say, I don't know where I am, but I'm here to make friends. That's how you initially do it. For me, that's how I did it. I had a whole 2 months phase where I did not want to meet anybody because I was like, oh my God, they don't want to talk to me, I'm not approachable, but actually, if you put yourself out there, you'll be surprised to hear and to see a lot of people that are just like you and that want to learn about you because you're an international student. Not many American Muslims meet international students from abroad, especially Indonesia. So that would be a really great conversation to have. So you'll be good. The second question, I think, what was it about? Sorry.
Do you still feel there's boundaries to work from your religion in America as America is the one?
Yes. Oh yes, okay, I remember. So I do think I can practice my religion freely. I'm just thinking about it and yes you can. It's just depends on for me when I think of praying or going somewhere and praying. I've had an incident where in my coffee shop where I used to work, there was no praying area, so I had to pray outside in the ground. And surprisingly, there were Americans that kind of shielded me from just in case the Islamophobias come out or something like that. So I think you'll be surprised to meet people and just find a space where you feel comfortable. Yeah. And then the third question, I forgot.
Social life goals.
Oh, social life. Oh, yes. Sorry, my brain's dead. No, it's not. That's the same Gen Z said. Sorry. Social life balancing. I don't have a social life. Sorry, kidding. No. It's just college students, we're very busy. We have so many assignments. We also have like, clubs and like going out to people, with people and eating. I think you just have to prioritize which one you want to really focus on. For me, I prefer to focus on my education. I do have a social life, but I mainly focus on my education. So my social life is like meeting with friends at a cafe to study, or going to the library for 5 hours with my friends, but actually not doing any work. It's like, yeah, so prioritize which one you want to do, and you will, I guess, adapt. It's going to take a while, maybe like 2-3 weeks to find your flow, but once you do, you'll have like a perfectly balanced life. I feel like it's different for everyone, but you will, yeah.
Maybe are there any additional remarks from Mr. Alright? Okay.
Differences. I think from my experience when I go back in the Middle East, I remember when I used to play with my neighbors, Christians, I was there, played football, etc. But I believe we focused more on showing the similarities we have rather than the differences. I don't know if this was intentionally or it comes from parents or it comes from education that you should. I don't know, I don't have any clue that we can say from where it comes to focus on similarities rather than, maybe it's a tradition already, maybe it comes from family education that if you have Muslim a friend or the other side of says if you have a Christian friend, do not talk about religious differences, etc. But whatever examples you have mentioned, that already is known. Like the well, not wearing hijab, or is it compulsory, or it comes from family, forced from family. Those questions are not asked already because, as I have mentioned, they were living together for more than 2-3 centuries. But here I think it comes more to find and to put forward similarities. For example, we have this, it's already a tradition that even in Christmas and New Year, just in the Christian area, they put the Christmas tree and decorations, and they invite all the people in the neighborhood. To your surprise, you will see that tree is with decorations that is therefore there will be more than like a week attendance. To your surprise, you will see that more Muslims are coming there and taking photos and joining the celebrations than the Christians. And this is also something that celebrating similarities. On the other hand, also you have in the footwear and the BIDANG, etc. Some people they just only celebrate together, but also they cook together, the neighbors, and if they are very in close relation, they even join the cooking. And during Iftar, they often are invited to the Muslim houses. So I believe that as long as you focus on the similarities and you believe in this one God concept of monotheism in daily life practically, I would say that that is more beneficial in even trying to find similarities in theological way. You will find out that these asked questions will bring to the stressful differences and evaluation which religion is the truth, and etc. That will make the thing more complicated, I believe. And that's my personal suggestion, that we might focus on similarities rather than trying to know the other religion, but not based on the differences, but based on the similarities. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Maybe Pak Amal ada tambahan?
Yeah, thank you very much. Give yourself thank you very much for the good presentation. Very nice sharing today. We will find some keyword which will be the situation in Amal, the challenges, the situation as the Muslim and the Christian in the Muslim countries. The keyword is how to see the similarities, not the differences. Actually, we don't see the religion, how to be a good friend, to respect each other. I think this is the very good keyword to see all the people. And Istiqlal become the center of interfaith. So we invite all the religion to come to Istiqlal and sharing with us and sharing all the kindness, the respectfulness, and all the kind. And then we see the other religion is the same respectful to each other. So don't see the differences, but we see the similarities and respectful to each other. I think this is very important to us, and I would like to discuss more with Aamiin, who is very insightful today. And of course to my friend Pak, saya sebutnya Pak Ararat, who stay in Indonesia. He's Christian, but from Armenia, from Armenia, and he studied in Indonesia from doctoral programs in Indonesia, and he became the ambassador of Armenia. Hopefully, and of course, Ibu Sabrina, you find some maybe different situation in America and Indonesia during you stay in Jakarta. How many time you stay in Jakarta?
I've stayed
for a month. I think most enough. You should stay at least 3 months. But it's okay. 1 month is very insightful, and you can see another situation and perspective about the situation of the Muslim in your country, for example in America or another country and Indonesia. Today we can make comparison. We can make how to see the difference when you stay in America and you stay in Indonesia. At the same time, Pak Ararat, the sense to express the situation as Christians stay in the Muslim country, as Indonesia, and it's no challenge. Everybody in Indonesia you stay in Jakarta. So no more challenge. This is specific. Yes.
Well, of course, Indonesia is very diverse. I mean, many people do recognize Indonesia only by Bali. I'm talking on a global scale. So I hope that people could have a chance to go to places more than just Bali and to explore Indonesia more. But I have tried, and still there are some places that I would also like to go. But it's very diverse. I mean, Jakarta is like more metropolitan, more, I would say it's pretty much reminds me of New York. It's the lifestyle. Well, you will see totally different situation in Yogyakarta. You will see different situation in Lombok. Even is different from Bali, although it's very close. But in terms of this precisely the topic Christian Muslim, I haven't seen any negative reaction that whether I am Christian or Muslim. Although the taxi drivers sometimes they do ask, and this is out of their interest, are you Muslim, are you Christian? But I haven't seen any negative reaction when I have replied that I'm Christian. Sometimes even they ask me, are you visiting church constantly? It feels like you have the duty to follow your religion, even though you are not Muslim. Let's say you are Christian, but he's trying to remind you that you should follow, your doctrine, and you should visit every Sunday to church. I mean, this is also something that this is something also encouraging, that even though majority are Muslim, also he's leading you to also respect and obey the rules of the doctrines of your religion. I mean, that is something that has had positive impact on me as a foreign minority in Indonesia.
Okay, thank you very much for Mr. Moyono, Mr. Arad, and Miss Sabrina. Thank you to yeah.
Maybe have one question to Sabrina.
Okay.
The impression
Okay.
she stayed in Indonesia for 1 month. How she see the situation in Jakarta about the Muslim and about the persecution. Maybe this is important question. Yeah. Okay. Please, before we close, sorry.
So, first and foremost, I would like to say that Indonesians are very hospitable. They're very kind, very welcoming people. The most welcoming people I've ever met, actually. Being in Indonesia for a month, I've grown to love it, actually. In my apartment, I have next to it, I have 4 masjid throughout. Something you don't see all the time in the US. Or how earlier I talked about being going to halal restaurants, or even being a foreigner and not speaking Bahasa Indonesian. I get lost or I get confused and I'm like, permisi Pak, and then I ask for help. Yeah, I picked up a little bit of Indonesian on the way. Sate. Terima kasih ya. Yeah. And after being alone, I've grown to love this place and really hope, inshallah, to come back. Hopefully as a Fulbright ETA, but we'll see. Yeah. Indonesia's been very lovely. I love this state. I love everything about it. It's really nice.
Okay, thank you so much to all our speaker for this valuable insights talk show today. And then before we close it, we will now proceed to certificate presentation. For Mr. Moyono will present a certificate for appreciation to Miss Sabrina Saifudin.
Sebelum kita tutup ya, mungkin closing statementnya dulu ya.
Okay.
Dikit aja Bu.
Please.
Ya, ini kan apa ya? Ini satu momen yang sangat bagus.
Very Indonesian. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. I hope you will continue coming in to Voice of Istiqlal and gain a lot of things from this talk. And we hope we can continue to collaborate with Voice of Istiqlal next time. And thank you for our both speakers.
Okay, thank you very much. And the words from Mr. Moyono to Miss Sabrina Saifudin.
This is the software from Istiqlal Mosque. So we will remember, this is the logo of the Istiqlal.
Ya, tepuk tangan untuk Miss Sabrina.
Okay, this is the certificate. This is from Istiqlal Voice.
Okay. And then from the Aamiin, appreciate to Mr. Constantine.
Ini ada iklan dan kiri belakang. Bisa digeser.
Okay, thank you very much. Oh, certificate. Okay, and now we take picture together. Mr. Manager Fahri Badinanur and Mas Adam. And from the Aminah.
Trading kecil.
The next.
Di mana trading dulu? Sekarang belum ada entry lagi nih. BRI. Tidak ada. Ini kripto.
Mr. Fahri, please. Please come to the stage. Mr. Fahri.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, once again, 1, 2, 3. Around time. Another.
Please. Okay,